take a look at where I am. You can see the sun rising here. Nova Scotia is behind me, New Brunswick in front of me there. This side, you have the Bay of Fundy, and then about 20 kilometers of land this way, followed by the Northumberland Strait. And this strip of land, not only important for me to stand on for this broadcast, but also you have the Trans-Canada Highway going there. You have the CN Rail. You have fiber optic internet and phone cables. You have transmission lines for power. This is a key strip of land and the only connecting piece of land for Nova Scotia to the rest of the mainland. So an incredibly important area that could, as you mentioned in the introduction, be flooded routinely by the end of the century. Now, just to reinforce how important this strip of land is, I spoke with the CEO of the Port of Halifax, talking about how the importance of all of the cargo that lands in Halifax that heads elsewhere in North America. Here's what he had to say.
75% of our cargo is moved by rail or land via that link between Nova Scotia and the mainland. And, you know, our whole essence about the Port of Halifax is we're a gateway. It's not about cargo in Atlantic cargo. It's actually cargo for the rest of Canada.
And so, again, important for the rest of Canada, important for humans, important for biodiversity as well, for animals to be able to have movement back and forth between Nova Scotia and the mainland. So a critical piece of land that could be threatened by sea level rise in the decades ahead. Heather.
So are they giving you any sense as you look into this, Brett, any sort of a time frame? I mean, just how urgent is this issue now?
Yeah, so, I mean, this is an urgent issue and one that's been studied. There was a report that came out earlier this year looking at what we can do. So right now I'm standing on basically a grassy dirt mound, a dike that's been built here that dates back to the 1600s, back to Acadian communities that used to live here. And this is holding back the power of the ocean. This really is the one piece of defense against sea level rise. So this report looked at the importance of upgrading these dikes, and I spoke with the Ecology Action Center's head of coastal management. Here's what he had to say about the importance of this dikes and the importance of this issue overall.
I worry every hurricane season because it only takes, with that spring tide or that, high lunar tide, it only takes about a meter or so to get over top of those dikes. And those are the only line of defense. There isn't a secondary wall in place. There isn't, sandbags between the rail and the road. It's once you're over top of the dikes, that's it.
And so the report found that there was kind of three options: make the dikes higher, build new dikes. Each one of them, though costing hundreds of millions of dollars, would take cooperation between the New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, federal governments as well. No progress yet has been made to select any of those options. So, Heather, kind of a microcosm, just one specific example of a global problem and how different governments and authorities would have to deal with it soon in the future.